step above personal. So we're going into the levels in which community music is involved. So this is where we are work-based, school, our friends, volunteer, community activities. I put music, dance, a club, a place at the bar to meet, and karaoke. This is a meso-level type of social capital. So in which ways do these friendships and all these peers affect me, and how do I affect you, and how do we all affect each other in the program? Are you sticking with me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good. It's really good, Jess.
Good. So these are all attributed to positive contributions to health, good health, and well-being. So basically, the person who is homeless, in poverty, or is in a community that has high mortality rate. Where am I going here? They are more likely to be unhappy or unsatisfied overall with how their life is. Their level of health is not as good. Mentally and in a personal way, you might feel more isolated. How does that make you feel if you feel like it's not very good? So then the macro level, this is like all encompassing national and like the entire, like say this country, for example. So I put law and social policy sort of as the headers, but wasn't really discussed. I didn't read a lot about that area. But generally, what was done, this was interesting. And these studies are from a while ago. This is from 97. A few studies on health and well-being versus national social capital. So there are a few studies being, few studies being done. Being overwhelmed. For example, Danes are healthier and happier, and their life satisfaction is higher than those who are Italian and French. But what does that mean? Did it just mean that the Danes said they were happier or more satisfied with their life when this study was completed? How is this data collected, and how can it be interpreted, especially when it's coming from different backgrounds?
I can speak to that a bit. I know my daughter met a Danish guy while she was on a Rotary exchange. You don't have to pay for school there. You pay a lot of tax, but there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's social programs throughout the country that are designed to sort of raise the quality of life for everybody, and that's why they're happier. Being squared.
Definitely, like same. I'm
It's
very
a national goal. It's a national goal.
Yeah, and it's Finland. I associate myself with this country, Finland, and similar ideas. Why not build this social network where it's healthy for the macro, for the entire nation from this. So there's another study, just briefly, about social trust or mistrust. And in the USA, populations that have high mortality, high poverty rates, the level of mistrust or their conception of mistrust was higher because they didn't trust the government to take care of their needs. So basically the idea was, well, we're going to watch out for ourselves because nobody else is. And then that just all cycles back into having bad, view of the world, negative interpretation in your own head about how you view yourself, how you feel about personal issues in your life, for example, how it affects your group.
In a nutshell, what you just said is a higher level of social capital means what compared to the lower level?
The higher level is?
Yeah, so you have high social capital in the Danes, low social capital in the U.S. projects.
Well, that was just a very small example, and I didn't really want to expand too much on it. But what I'm trying to say is those who have high social capital are more successful in that way because they have more relationships to share with other people and those experiences.
Okay.
Yeah, you just have a better quality of life if you have higher social capital.
Okay.
That's what this study is. This theory is arguing. Yeah. So how does making music together generate social capital? I don't know. It generates a social relationship that's considered more valuable. And how can we make that relationship more valuable? Well, making music. Not everyone is privileged enough to take lessons at a young age. Some of the students here have started playing violin or piano when they were 4, and they were given the privilege to get lessons every week. And not all of us have that. And for me, I didn't start studying clarinet with a teacher until I was in university. And I've been playing for a long time. Like stuff like this. So I'm just curious, as a community musician, how can we offer these workshops or program or music making opportunities for those who aren't as privileged, and trying to make this meso level social capital more accessible. So that's sort of where I'm going with this slide. And this is all in the individualistic societies. We're still fighting for ourselves in a way. Okay, so implications for community music. How are we valued as a community musician? So how am I valued compared to Gerard? What is my value? And how does that change when I have an education from a public university?
Good question.
Does it, are we here to be leaders or find, be scholarly, whatever in our approach? Or, are we here for other reasons, like I want to make music with other people, learn how to be a workshop leader, facilitator, and sort of create social networks where I can, this business has a free space. Well, I want to use that space to create this opportunity for other people. For example, Now, and a big point of this is success rated by individual success. So I'm in my master's, and I'm going to get my master's, and I'm going to finish in December. Now I already have a job lined up. That's my individual success. But my social relationships, I'm leaving for work, and all of them are going to be depleted. Like I have to start all over again. So what is that? This is my own dilemma. Individual success, I am being successful, but am I being successful in the social relationships I have? And do those social relationships define our success over the material successes? Yes. The people that if you saw me walking down the street, what would your view be of me, and what would mine be of yours? And it's in that's more valuable than being, high on the totem pole and having this attitude that materialism is more important than, relationships. And you can see that in very successful businesses, that they have very good success because of the social relationships they've created within the company and how it affects, the broader scope. Facebook, Google, they treat their employees like gold, and they create an idea and vision that is shared by all. You're going in with a bunch of different people, and then you're going to be trained for so many weeks, and you have this shared vision and idea at the end, so you're all going to fight in the front lines. So those are like the leaders. I'm curious, how do they build that military base as a success, and how is that socially embedded?
Hey, is that social capital? Is that what you're saying?
The military?
The military?
No, it was just, it could be.
But I think
it could be because you're.
Like it might be.
You're gaining. Yeah, exactly. It could be. It's just an example. I was just pulling.
But I mean, it's a great example because Putnam's not dealing with that. He's dealing with poverty and voter turnout and all these other crazy things. But but no, it's a good thing you brought it up, because that means that social capital isn't necessarily a good in itself.
And that's why I sort of didn't really agree with a lot of it, but I agree with this last quote: is success rated by individual success? Because my relationships in my life, my relationships in my life, aren't as strong as maybe some of yours. Some people don't have these upbringings that everybody else has. So, there's a carpet releasing under you. Where do I fall? This is a personal story, okay? So where do I fall in this, and how do I build relationships I can trust, and that are honest and integral to me, and I can be that for them, So this is where it sort of hit home.
Awesome.
So final thoughts. I mean, what I like to say is find some elements, be nice to each other, and have fun.
Yay! So let's turn it over to us for about 5 minutes. Go ahead, Simon.
I have a question about when you said with the social relationship of passing someone by on the street. Let's say you looked at them, but they didn't look at you. Would that still count as a social relationship?
There's this awkwardness with a lot of young people I'm finding is like we're on our phones. We purposely avoid to have this interaction with people. And I tested this out. Like I'm looking right at you. If you looked at me, I was smiling, or I would be smiling had you given me that eye contact, but I didn't receive that. So I don't know. Like social, to me, I'm just thinking of more warm, but not warm, but enriching
engagement, personal engagement,
engaged and enriched relationships that I have with people over time. Simon, you and I might become, talk more and more over time, and this relationship helps us maybe on a personal level, or something that I mentioned about education. Oh, I didn't really, it's just like a passing of, goods. I'm giving you my goods, and you're giving me yours.
Yeah, social capital. just so to give you a background on this stuff, this is excellent, and the questions you raised are excellent. Social capital was sort of the baby of social science and political science and public administration theories since Putnam wrote the book. When did he write the first book? Halpern's UK. Putnam wrote it, what, 2000? What did I put? 2004. He's 2004. The other one's 2000. And then the discussion died. And reemerged as social innovation. And so we have the Toronto Center for Social Innovation, Washington, D.C. So it's all over the place. And what the studies are now about how social capital plays into making our societies better. And of course, being a bunch of weird capitalists, our society, right? They're looking into how it helps us make more money and how it helps us be more wealthy. Whereas the Europeans and the Swedes and the Norwegians are looking into actual quality of life. And so they work to improve the quality of life through their choirs and through their cultural things too.
Finland just closed all their jails and all.
Who did?
Is it Finland? And also they don't have
Criminals.
Yeah, they don't have mental institutions. They go to people's houses. So
They mainstream it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fascinating. So the Nordic
Education can be
countries.
affected, and that's more on like the macro level where the country is affected.
Right.
Education systems, in Finland, you start learning music at the age of 12 or something like this. And it's
Well,
provided by
you actually
the
don't start math until you're quite
government.
old.
Something like this, yeah.
And it works. Like they're really good. So
Yeah, really interesting, really great.
Okay.
yeah, come sit with us. Grab that chair over there.
I was just gonna say, I think it is an consideration because I know a lot of the people that I work with, education-wise, they may not have a family or friends. They may have lost that. May have never had it really to begin with, and so it's really interesting to think of community music, bringing them together, and like allowing, the capacity. No, they still have the capacity, but just allowing them to connect with build those relationships. So it's more of a comment than a question.
Yeah,
I thank you.
No, exactly, and that's how I sort of view it. Maybe that's community music as well. But there are other areas in this social capital that I don't. There are some different parts of which we're going to gain our own approaches and theories of community music. We're sort of swimming right now, but I'm nearing the end of my education, so it's just a bit different. Where I find my view and approach about music has changed. And for me, it's about having a good time, like karaoke, right? It's not about being the best singer. It's not about getting those notes 100%. It's about having a good time.
It's so interesting how people who may not have had access for financial reasons, for giving opportunity, hear, well, I can't play music, and they've never even tried, but it just seems like this goal is unattainable, and really it's not, so it gives us a task, right? Like we have work to do.
It just might be the constructs in which music, is given to us. You have to be this beautiful woman or very talented guitar player or something, or you have to be in the Western classical music side and have every note on your violin down pat.
Yeah.
I read an article about that, about it's called the problem with performance or something like that. Yeah. And it was saying because people are so stuck into just changing the way everything is.
Yeah, somebody posted it. Yeah. That's great. That was great.
Yeah. So there is a problem with perfection because people are hearing and this is actually on the book, similar to the book. People have heard. I'll give a little synopsis about next week's presentation. Before recording was available, you would go to a live performance. Somebody might play something completely wrong, but the performance would still go on. People would forget about it because they wouldn't know what perfect sounds like. But then recording came and they had the luxury of being able to perfect something. And now there is that problem with perfection. Everybody strives for perfection, and that's what they think they need to have. And therefore, myself included, I think I need to be perfect in order to get a good grade on my piano exam or whatever. And that's why people are so intimidated to try, because they think they have to sound amazing. And
like a recording.
And then back to that improvisation thing. They're scared to let themselves just be out there and do whatever. I hated improvisation. Now I'm getting better at it, but I just had to let myself be free and go out there with whatever.
Yeah. And I was just going to add on to this, but that's also with music or outside music too, in like the media. How do we dress? How do we get ready? How do we present ourselves to the world? And in what things are affecting our decision to wear that green sweater today, or to wear a red lipstick, you know, or to wear my glasses. You know what I mean? Like, what is affecting that decision?
It's very interesting. We had a roundtable discussion about the 2 counties that ended in brain injuries, where there's a ton of music. And we were, the Sydney was there, and then Sweetwater was there, and there were like lots of music festivals in the summer. They were all there. They usually fight. There we were in a discussion like this for 2 hours on Sunday. And everybody was passionate. Came up when the Sweetwater lady said, okay, well, what's working? Was the opposite of that. It was, if, Yo-Yo Ma could come in, Yo-Yo Ma, but really, really the new hot violinist could come into On Sound and play at a beautiful, and nowhere to go. Mm-hmm. But if my friend Peter, who just got to grade 12 and is stumbling through the bar top, it would be packed. So there's a funny thing in small town, like we're very conscious that we can come to Toronto anytime, we can come here and hear excellent, but what we collectively, I guess culturally, up in Grey Bruce want is to see our friends. Mm-hmm. And we want to see them.
You want to be their cheerleaders
too. Yeah, we want to see them make mistakes. It says, well, yeah, okay, well, he's not perfect, but man, has he got courage? And it could be me.
Well, they inspire you. And so in that inspiration, we raise the level of social capital amongst our communities. This is that weird kickback effect. Was it you who wrote about globalization? Who wrote about globalization? Somebody did. And I commented and said, so there's this weird kickback effect where instead of getting one global music, which everyone was afraid was going to happen, it would just be Kelly Clarkson pop or something. That in fact we've got, I have my story too of Kelly Clarkson. So
cosmopolitanism.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but instead of that, we're getting all these weird kickbacks. And one of the kickbacks is this weird local thing where we love local music. And so live music has come alive again. It's not just recordings. So we just didn't count on any of this. And so we don't, in social capital studies, we're not sure what this all means yet. So, and again, you guys are on cutting edge of, is one of our goals of community music to raise that social capital. So it's such a weird airy-fairy thing, but because it's hard, because you have to do the opinion thing. It's like, do you feel better? Yes, and that becomes your data. But it does seem to work. They link it to voter turnouts and all kinds of weird things. So maybe it's not everything, but maybe for us it's something we can use.
So if going off of Kira's thoughts about like if it was someone from that community who was
Yep. Exactly. This is Dan and Carissa.
We really want to come out and support them. Would it kind of be like taking away from, like, let's say Ariana Grande came in, but like we all put them on a pedestal, right? Because of their recordings that they sound perfect, right? They're at a different level. And then all of a sudden when they're doing a live concert, they're like, oh, well, I mean, like, look at Adele. She changes the keys of her songs because she can't do it in the same way as the recording. Whereas
what's your point?
Well, I was gonna say, like, if it's from a smaller community, like we're taking, like the live music, what it could be is like we're taking away the pedestal. We're not putting them above us. They're just part of our community. We just want to be together with them.
Right. It's a good point. So music becomes more egalitarian, which is community music.
Yeah.
Which is more attainable too. So you've got that person that's probably like, oh, well, you can do it. Maybe I can.
So we can inspire each other more.
Yeah, affordability too. Like a ticket to Ariana Grande versus a ticket to Grande is like $100.
It's like what Dawood said, right?
Yeah, the best ticket is your friend Dave and Ariana Grande. Like that's the coolest thing in our.
And I've got to tell you that one of the few places that can happen is Canada. Like our area is where you walk down the street and you knock on a door and you open the door and it's somebody famous who says, "Do you want to do a gig?" It just happens here, and it doesn't happen in the States because they have big entourages and they're scared of guns. And everybody has. This was good, Jessica. One more set of questions.
Oh, I just wanted to go back to the whole idea of social capital in terms of non-personal interaction through technology.
Good.
And whether,
Gosh, that's good.
are we still, like I have, if you have 1,000 friends, is that the same, does it get valued the same way? as
Oh,
it does?
Facebook, 1,000
Like,
friends.
that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
right?
no.
It's a different.
Let's go around the room and see how many friends you have.
But do you know them the same way?
Anxiety is kicking in.
But do you know them the same way?
No, I don't.
No, like you don't have that same interaction that you do in a personal way.
I don't think that's actually social capital.
No,
Like,
that's
what do
I'm
you
saying.
think? I don't think it is.
Adds to it.
Because I don't think you know the person and you're not able to
And
influence.
they're only showing you what they want to show you. You don't have a chance to address.
Yes.
Go ahead, Heather.
My birthday, and people you have not talked to in a long time, saying happy birthday, I miss you, hope you are well. Hate it.
That's like it's like your grade 8 a yearbook where they're like, stay gold, see you next year, never change.
I'd rather my close friends say happy birthday to me than 100 friends on Facebook
Because-
it doesn't seem
Because
sincere.
one means something to you.
Right,
and the
there's
other
no
does not.
value to the other one.
So
it's
social
like,
capital has something to do with
Personal.
meaning, personal meaning.
Okay, but
Good.
hang on a second, because I've got 1,500 friends on Facebook. And so
What the
that-
freak?
I know, but here's.
How many do you
here's
have?
why. So if Joyce,
Yeah, I've
if
got
Joyce,
like
if we
5.
all had a gig, in town, here's why I have that many friends. And I don't know who they are, I know a lot, I know 200, but, if we all had a gig in one town, I would put up one little notice.
They'd all
and
come,
a
wouldn't
bunch of
they?
people
They'd all
follow
come.
They
me,
still come in person.
And they come.
But they
And
still
like
come in
one
person.
right.
Yeah.
Well, but it
You know what
maybe
that says though?
works.
That says, okay, so either the social capital was built before
Yeah.
or the social capital exists on some level. It has limits,
Yeah.
but it's a level enough where it will get them there, which you build more.
Yeah, right.
When you have the head administrator of a school singing next to some baritone who's all pierced through the face and stuff, and then they have to negotiate how to sing this weird piece of choral music, they're building this odd social capital that
Yeah.
really works when it comes down to scholarships for that grade of a person in a music major. It totally works. So that social capital is heavy, high potential. Facebook capital probably is lower, but it still seems to work.
But there,
Some.
yeah, no, it does work. I don't have to pay for everything. So that's why.
It's not mediated by someone else's
And think about
creation.
some isolated northern communities, like, Attawaska, or June or Yukon. Or
This was great,
something,
Jessica.
Right, so, obviously.
Go ahead, Angela, Emily.
I don't have TV, but I follow This Is High School, this new CBC program on Facebook.
Oh
and
yeah,
I
it's supposed to be
watch
so interesting.
It's,
Terrifying.
I only get their little couple minute long videos, but there's one, and I'm trying to look for it right now, and it's about this girl in grade 9 who's talking about, like how she takes like 90 or like 100 plus selfies a day to put on her Instagram.
Wow.
And it just sort of ties into this anxiety thing and the friends on Facebook. And she says that like she feels like validated or like, I maybe I'm paraphrasing, but she's saying that she feels validated when people like her
Oh, just
selfies or whatever. And like if she doesn't get a lot of likes on it, she takes it down because she's like, oh, it's not like worth it. Like I'm not worth it. And like, yeah, and it's totally real. And like for I guess this new generation who's coming out of the womb with technology and phones in their hands, it's like it is literally that is their new social capital is literally likes. Like that's providing validation for them.
That's
But
affirmation, but social capital is not only affirmation,
No,
right?
I
It's
know,
what
but-
you can do with it.
right, but that's what I'm saying is that I think it's like a false sense of that, and
Exactly.
which is leading into this anxiety.
So it's just that ego affirmation where you it's the existential question: do I exist and am I worth something? The Facebook or the likes or the Instagram say yes you are, but in fact it's like
Yeah, but what does that
drinking a Coke. It's like empty calories.
Yeah, and yeah, like what does that translate to?
Doesn't
in the real
translate to
world?
anything.
Yeah.
That's an interesting premise. I mean, for all I know, you could be exactly right. But what does that say about us and music? And I don't know what it says yet.
Right.
I worry about my children now. After you did that, and I'm worried about my daughters.
Well, I mean, it should, like, going off of what she said, I don't know if this is where you're going, but let's see if it works. it's like where what she's talking about, it's an extrinsic. But like the affirmation is coming from the outside, right? Whereas it's not intrinsic of like I feel good. Whereas in
Good.
music, you like when you're meeting with all these people, you're making those real connections. It's an intrinsic feeling of I'm happy,
And you
right?
share,
Like I'm
you
yeah.
engage, like personally,
Yeah.
because you through yours, right? And that is more valuable than any of this.
I think we're on the right path, certainly. I think we're on the right path, but I don't think we got to the heart of it yet, because I know that in dealing with improvisation and how we're connected in it, and the people who actually enjoy it, who's have let go and they are experiencing something, that total connectedness that goes beyond anything we're saying. I know for a fact that is some sort of social capital. I don't know how effective it is at getting me to vote or something, or getting me to give to the Chamber of Commerce or something, but improvising together or something. But I know it makes me more connected to you guys every week, and that I will do stuff here.
Do you know how people who smoke pot they have this like thing? There's a I don't know. I'm not very-
I was gonna say what. You Hey, you guys, did you hear the pot thing? Because we just want.
And so are
Kira, what? Wait, try it. I'm gonna trust you.
And they're like buddies because they live.
I thought they were just munchy buddies. Just like munchy.
No, there's this secret code thing.
And what is it? Is it like it's not like surfers, is it?
No, it's a non-chronic pot smoker, but I know chronic pot smokers who are just totally tight, and they don't even talk. There's a.
Should we turn off that blue light?
And I also think that it applies to people who improvise together all the time. There's a huge amount of trust. So if I'm gonna improvise with you, you need to know if I'm gonna support you when you go up there and do whatever your thing is. So
she's right.
It's there is a code to that kind of behavior, the improvising trust behavior that goes beyond. I'm really happy right now. It's important. Anyway.
Okay, now, I'm going to say they're different, because what you're talking about is shared common experience. But I think with improvisation, like you and I were improvising the other night, and we were really bad. I played a recording of it. Oh, it was really horrible. And anyway, so I do not trust you in B minor. Anyway, I know, and I don't know what you're doing. But after you guys left, we were improvising. We were truly horrible. Yeah, but we bonded, and it was fun. But I think it's the first step, and I don't know if it's this way in social capital, Jess, what Halpern says or whatever. But in the studies of ethical space, before anyone has even made a note or made a statement, it is the people who step in to participate, like we step into the circle. So it's the intent to participate in the group that. Once that is signaled, everything is accomplished. Doesn't matter what you do.
I think
The
there's
rest
something
of it.
to be said about who starts.
Yeah, whether
Like, there's always that awkward moment. Saying, okay, who's gonna start? Am I gonna start? Who's gonna start? And then once the person starts, they're like, okay.
it's permission. Permission.
Yeah.
Very good.
But everybody's always like, oh.
Could you do that again?
Sorry,
It was nice. It was nice.
Doesn't the intent to participate though also come through in worship?
This is the link between sacred context, social context, improvisation, prayer, community music, and music therapy. These are all the links that they all seem to be linked into similar or the same experiences, which are deeply meaningful privately and socially. This is why studying this stuff is so mind-blowing. Because now once we study community music in this way, we find out why people sing in congregations and why we do all kinds of weird stuff. Because the need for connection, great, like a drug, like pot for you. And but the joy and euphoria of being truly connected in a musical experience or in a prayer experience or in walking together, or in being in love, that kind of thing, walking together, experiencing together, is so strong. And the pleasure experience is so strong. Evolutionary biologists say that it's something that was necessary for our evolution. All those things that are pleasurable are deeply social and deeply individualistic, introverted and extroverted at once. So we're on something, but well, you're on something. We're on to something that is going yeah, I know. Get out. Yeah, anyway. But we're on to something that we were not going to solve for 20 years. We're going to do it all as professionals, right? I'm not going to get into it, but you're on to something really cool. And it's exciting because it's a little bit of a secret of the universe kind of thing. It's like, why are we like we are as people? Oh, Simon.
So it's almost like losing yourself in that sense
Some
of
of
losing
it.
yourself to the music.
In the ecstatic experiences, they are about losing you. The sense of individual persona. Your persona's gone. You were joined. There she goes, little chipmunk's gone. But where you are joined with other people, yourself. It's like these weird. People have been writing about these things for years, about religious experiences and spiritual experiences, and they're very much like the musical experiences.
Is it almost like if you were doing like a performance and people are like, "Oh, well, how did it go?" And it's like, "I actually don't know."
No, that's
or
different.
Is it okay?
That's different.
So that I'm not understanding.
That's different. That you're talking about the focus experience. What we're talking about. Well, we don't have to go into it right now.
Okay.
But let's just say that. Think more about social experience, social connection, rather than me, or I.
No,
People's
but
reaction.
You're performing as a group together.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, then there'd be no audience, right? Think of that. A place with no audience, where there's no division between observer and performer. Break that. Like our class before, like singing for one another. Okay, yeah. So think of those situations and how those process, and that'll get you closer. All right, this is Joyce, and then we're gonna take a break.
It doesn't matter.
God, you look beautiful on camera. Has anyone told you that before? Which side's better, your right or your left? Okay, there you go.
So I'll be doing a kind of like a practical demonstration of free play, improvisation, and like an art
Yay.
It's the book that you like, so
Yeah.
So you were raving about it, so I wanted to read it.
And Dan likes it too. He did a blog post on it
Yeah,
as
I
well.
saw
He
it.
really likes it.
What's it called? Sorry,
Free play
Improvisation and like an art.
by Stephen Nachmanovich.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
So I'm going pretty old school with this. I tried a YouTube video, didn't really capture what I wanted, so demonstration. And I also brought paper for you guys, so you guys can try it as well and see how
See how it goes.
difficult it is. So,
Nachmanovich.
So he describes improvisation using the word lila, which means to play. It is reflective of the changes in your life and the experiences that you develop. So he feels that lila or free play is a better term to describe improvisation.
Do you know can you tell us where that term comes from and what it is? Because there's a bigger context for the term.
I know it came from
It's a sacred term.
Yeah.
It is. It's Lila.
Yeah, and it comes from Sakrit.
Sanskrit is the language of. It's no. Well, it's no. Sanskrit goes back really old, so it's from India, and it is so. Just as Latin would be our sacred church language, Sanskrit is the language of the sacred texts for the Vedas, the Hindu texts, and then into the old Buddhist texts as well.
A lot of the book talks about how to improvise, and rather than me just like spewing out all the context of improvisation for you and what sort of things you need, rather just do it practically, because what better way to learn than to actually practically do it. So I did a few types of calligraphy for you.
Wow.
And this one is, you can pretty much tell the difference. So this one is very traditional. This one's my name. And so you can see it's very rigid, as 4 sides, similar to the Aboriginal works, or like the 4 sides of the Aboriginal drumming circle. It's very similar. Chinese. So this is traditional.
You have a chop. Your chop is.
Yes, I brought my chop today.
Oh, great.
So if you want to come up and see my chop, it's actually in
Chinese, but in the more ancient form. So it's hand carved.
Did you carve it?
No,
Who
I
did your
got-
chop? It's beautiful.
I got someone else to chop it for me. So it has my name as well. I think it's some sort of.
It's like a soapstone, and it's really easy to carve. It's quite soft.
So it's more traditional than.
Beautiful choice. Wow.
And then the free flow is this one. In Chinese, in Cantonese, it's called liu chou, which means free flow. So this is using one stroke of doing Chinese calligraphy.
Can you hold them both up?
Now hold them both up so we see the difference.
So Nachmanovich compares this one, the traditional one, through his experiences growing up. So he felt that the education system was too rigid. It wasn't allowing him to experiment, to explore new ideas. So that's the reflection that I see here. It's very rigid, has to be the right stroke, has to be very precise and meticulous, similar to music, right? If you perform, you have to be a perfectionist. So it could be reflective of visual art as well. Whereas this one, I could just, be more expressive in myself. And each stroke is a characteristic of myself. So if I make a mistake, and considering rice paper, it's very fragile. I mean, I've had a lot of rips. Like right here, it's not perfect. I have to embrace those rips as well. So what
It's beautiful.
This is beautiful.
Oh,
And
Beautiful.
but I'm going to bring you into it. So which of these for you is more authentic? Why?
more rigid. I mean, medically, in science, you have to be very quantitative in your approach. In research as well, it's a right or a wrong. It's never in between. Whereas I'm still exploring, similar to community music, right? It's very expressive. There's no boundaries in terms of the
Right and wrong.
right and wrong. So I'm able to play more with my ideas and be more expressive in that way.
But you identify more fully with the rigid.
Yeah. Music is like dead on in the middle. So there's
Good.
more
Good.
there's some sort of structure to it, but you can also be expressive at the same time.
Cool.
So
I think your question is distinct to which is more authentic. Like which is more authentic calligraphy is one thing. and which
Authentic
one is more
to
authentic to you.
you.
Yeah.
There you
And-
go.
and I think
Good.
that makes a
And
difference.
also
too.
the chop. If I were to sell this, it's kind of like it's not an art anymore. Nachmanovich says that if you sell your work,
Isn't that interesting?
it's not art anymore.
Why-
It's a
why?
commodity.
Why?
Because I guess my artisticness is for someone else now. It's to please someone else. So this chop,
I
regardless of
disagree. That's
Yeah?
fine. I disagree with you.
that's okay.
No, you keep, but so the chop says something. Okay.
It's more of my signature, but if I were to sell this work to someone else, then this art is not mine. It's not authentically mine anymore.
So it's
This
possible.
is-
Go ahead, Heather.
Oh, no, say what you were gonna
I was gonna say, so it's possible to purchase authenticity away
Yeah.
from. That's horrible.
I know.
Because then when we get to your topic with Michael Brown, who owns Native Culture, the buying away of authenticities, if that is possible, if he's right, then that's a huge affront to people. You can buy away their very souls.
So if you give it to somebody, since that ties into if you're
Sharing,
gifted something-
openness, hospitality, kindness.
I'm thinking about cultural
I am.
I've given some of my traditional works before as gifts, but it wasn't my offering. It was my mom's offering, because she I guess in Asian cultures, they really like praising their family. They like to make that family name, and so the only thing that we could do to offer or make our name is giving or offering something that is ours, even though it's something that we treasure. We have to give it away.
So that's the name thing. You give it away.
So even though I have some works that I really love, I gave it away. It's
Wow, this is beautiful. It's beautiful
Yeah.
as an expression. It's just
But it wasn't your expression.
Yeah,
right.
it's
It's
someone
the
else's
cultural
expression.
expression,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like that's authentic to your family, an authentic act of something.
You didn't give it away, but somebody told you.
You give it away. yeah.
Exactly. So it's different, right? Telling us we have to perform for this audience who is supposed to ritually give us money. It's so messed up, right?
I
And they're told exactly what to do, and the Canadian Opera Company, you walk in and you're, I want this kind of sound, so change your mouth.
So your free play is gone. The conductor
Yeah.
takes it, or the artistic director takes it. Yeah.
The conductor gets to play. A
All
little
right.
bit within.
But I'll tell you, being that, and I was that kind of conductor for a very long time, because I did a lot of pro work, and it was devastating. It was soul sucking. You wouldn't think it would be. I was met at the airport with either Lexus or Mercedes, wherever I landed. 2 days with the orchestra, right? And I conducted and Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back so many times that I never got to conduct Beethoven or anything. It was like, we're gonna do Dances with Wolves. Is that okay? And like, yeah. What am I supposed to say? And because they bring me in for pop concerts, like those third drawer conductors we get at stuff. You've never heard of them before, but they're here doing our pop concert.
I love the
Yeah. Well, I did tons of those. That's what I did because I'm like, was the young, ethnic looking guy, and I'd say, and now we're doing Star Wars, Good. Anyway, so 2 years of that, and I was on the plane coming home thinking, been well in 2 years. Like I was so sick because music we had done, just for health and for all these other things, but here I was at the top of the professional ladder, getting $1,200 a day, which is base pay for that kind of conductor, and then cars and everything, rooms, and it was so unfulfilling. It was hard to even say it, that it was really unfulfilling. And to the point where I was physically ill all the time. It was just such an awful thing to do.
So do you think, can you put yourself in the shoes, since you would probably work with professional soloists? who
All the
do
time.
classical music.
Yeah.
So do you think that they're in the same boat?
Yep.
That they are.
We'd go backstage in the green room and we'd say, God, we're just miserable. We're expected to do certain things a certain way. A lot of the musical interpretations and musical freedom you do not have. It just doesn't exist, right?
In the classical, that you're talking about.
It's but even I've got 1 or 2 days with the orchestra. That's it. I have one run through.
Yeah.
I can't make music in one. No one can.
True.
Yeah. What's that?
You can make music.
In one run through, if they played it the same way 50 times, and they're very uninvested, right? They're going to play what's in front of them. What's that?
Whatever they play.
Oh no, I'm talking about creating art, not just banging it out.
It's that.
Not just banging it out, which is what we had to do, right?
That is art.
It wasn't the art that we were trying to make. It wasn't the art that we were trying to make. We were trying to make a group art, but supposedly there was a way of doing it, and yeah. But anyway, it didn't feel like an artistic experience compared to other artistic experiences. It was different.
It's what Small says about folk that in the traditional symphony is that there's hardly any relationships because of that.
The relationships are poor. The social capital, where is she? The social capital within the symphony orchestra feels low, really low. Yeah, they feel powerless. Yeah.
When they say even for the conductor, like he or she is stuck on that score and only so much.
Yep.
Because they're not allowed to.
So why do it?
It was my dream.
Yeah.
It was my dream. And when I got to go be an assistant conductor, and then I got a call that said, "You want to come to Russia?" And then I just followed the path.
There's a cultural perception that you are the top of the heap, right?
Well, and you try so hard to be good at it all. Yeah, and then you arrive and go, "This just kind of sucks." Yeah. But what does that say about free play? I'm no kidding, and we kind of took over your presentation, got you served.
No, I don't think so, because what we were really talking about was the prescribed, here's what you do, and again and again and again and again. And I know pop bands that are like that. They tell the same joke at every show at the same time and drop the thing at the same time.
And these older groups that we keep bringing back, like Blue Rodeo, I know they're great, and the ones that we see on Canada Day, that like I haven't heard of them since I was 17, and they're kind of do that same thing. Right? Yeah, Loverboy. Kim, what's his name? Yeah.
Anyway, but this is perfect because there's comfort to that, because you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
and you know what the system is, and you know what the structure is.
We know what
But there's
Beethoven
kind
sounds
of a-
like, right? There's a comfort there.
There's also a liberation when you kind of side of it, and you try something like that. I think that's beautiful.
Can you hold him up again?
Oh,
Hold him up again. Hold him up again
I
because
wanted to talk about this as well.
I know, but we're not going to let you because we've taken over your talk. But
So
I
it's
do
just a
want you.
comparison thing again.
Well, I just hold him up and we'll do the rest. So from our point of view, from our points of view, dear viewers, which one? And you just have to hold up your hand. And I'll point to one, and you just tell me if you think it. You can vote for both. If you think it's beautiful.
This
Aesthetics,
one's not standard.
beautiful. You can't say anything. Okay, okay, beautiful. Raise your hand. Beautiful. Raise your hand. Okay.
You're both
Now,
equally as
now wait.
beautiful.
Which one? You have to vote for one now. Which one is more beautiful? See what this gets weird. Okay, ready?
I'm not voting then.
See, and at some point somebody has to get out.
Contentious, yeah.
Yeah, it becomes contested. So we divided the room when we started to do the more or less competitive, because it's not like that, is it? For you inside, they're both.
They
You.
both say the same thing, but they're created differently.
Do they mean the same thing to you, the artists?
This one's a lot harder because although you have to be expressive, it has to look like the term. This
Okay.
one is like, this one is more like, there's only a set pathway. It's very traditional.
Yeah.
So
But you
it's,
studied for a long time to be able to make that.
yeah, I studied through a teacher from Hong Kong.
It's really beautiful. You do
Yeah, I
good,
did
really
over
beautiful
20
work.
years worth of calligraphy, and
There you go.
prior,
Sounds
similar
hard.
to his, similar to Dr. Young's flute playing, where he had the sacredness.
Yeah.
I had to sit here for like 15 minutes doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that when I was younger. And she would tell me, my art teacher would tell me to move my arms. And I was like, I look so stupid. And I moved the other arm. And then I stood up and then sit back down, sit up, sit back down. So it's like there's a sacredness towards it as well. So it's not just the art itself, it's what creates the art. So it's the space. It's
Whole,
the
it's the
maw.
space.
Yeah.
She had you explore them all with the hand,
Yeah.
with the feet, and of course the little kid's never gonna get that. We're like,
Yeah,
What
I
the
was
hell?
pretty disciplined, I guess, when I was younger.
we're afraid.
Yeah.
Were you afraid?
She wouldn't let me out of the classroom. So she was, oh gosh. Yes.
It's all coming back. If I recall correctly, when I went to Canada, we learned calligraphy as well. And like there seemed to be a whole process in towards doing it. Like I don't know.
Formality.
I'm just kind of saying
It's-
what
it's
came to
true.
my mind. Like I forget exactly what we did, and I tried looking for the photo on Facebook, but yeah. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
You're saying there's a formality to it.
Yeah, I guess.
It's not just about the product, right? Yeah.
So that's also like acknowledging where it came
It's the source.
from. Yeah, you're giving
Good.
like tribute.
I used to have those history classes too. So like before we write the term, we can't write the term. We have to understand where the term came from before we write the term. So it was like, okay, where does this one come from? Oh, it came from this. And then
Wow.
the teacher would tell us to spit it back out, and I was like, it came from this. Okay, can I write it now? Okay.
So
that's why it's
fascinating.
when you sell it.
Yeah.
I get it.
So if you want me to tell there's actually meaning to, this is my name, this is my given name. So this means leaf in, like of a tree, so a leaf in Chinese. So these 3 dots means water. This term means clean. So the water actually filters this tree.
The tree of
And then
the
this is kind of like a last term, it means ending. So my sisters, we all have, so all 5 of us, have the first and third term the
wow.
same. Yeah, it's all
but
my
the middle
brothers.
term is different.
Wow.
But all of them have water, so it filters through the water.
So you're clean leaf,
Yes.
and the others are.
So it's more like a hydration. It's more like a generating. I think. So my parents really thought,
Yeah.
well, for
They did good with your names. They did good with your
Yeah.
name.
and my sister, my little sister, is actually one of the teachings for Buddhist teachings. So her middle term is one of the teachings.
Oh,
So it's a
What's
lot.
her term? What's it? What
It's
teaching?
Like the refugee, the second one. Yeah. So not only it's an identity thing, but it ties into faith as well.
So see how the sacredness and belief structures and it's all in the meaning inside that.
Yeah. It's also when you buy houses as well, the feng shui. Like when Asians buy houses, it's
It's
ballistic.
not so, yeah.
It's like the stair can't be in front of the door because the luck will come out. If you start shaking your leg, you're shaking out the changes of your pocket. So things like that, very small things, really make a difference in your culture.
Yeah.
So I guess I can embrace that, but it's kind of like OCD.
Yeah.
You're literally OCD half the time.
Now you were gonna take the inkstone and tell us about that. You had it in your hand, yeah.
This.
And
So
Heather, you had a question.
I,
Way back.
yeah,
Okay.
I just was I don't remember what you were calling it now. That
The chop?
plant, the chop?
Chop. Yeah,
Like
chop.
chop?
Yeah, like chop chop. Yeah.
Does the chop say? Does the chop say your name or what's on a chop?
you can come up and see. It says my name.
Okay, because we were given chop markings when I did it. So what the heck would that mean?
So
If it's
if
not
it
my name?
was not in, if it wasn't, I guess you could say recommended by an artist to carve it, it could be just like miscellaneous. It could be like a symbol of some sort. My parents specifically found an artist who would do my chop, and so it's funny because my chop also has meaning as well. There's actually a monkey on top, which is my zodiac sign. So
You're a monkey?
yes,
That's awesome.
so there's like a few other terms I can't read it.
You a green monkey? You're a green monkey? My daughter's a green monkey.
And then, so they put a lot of meaning into making the product as well.
Cool.
So although it's a commodity, there's some sort of like identity attached to it.
What is green?
That's it. There's different elements. It depends on who you talk to, but yeah, so it would be metal, wood, wet water.
I guess I'm a water one.
Yeah, your water.
Yeah.
Probably. And
So-
then there's colors that are separate.
Actually, we make our own ink. There's these little chops again, but they're just for ink. They compressed it into a little block. I couldn't bring it today. So usually when you're making the ink, you go in a circular motion. And I remember previously Kira was doing the circle exercise, how it's supposed to identify yourself. So the way that you draw the circle is supposed to identify who you are. But for calligraphy, it's more of the freedom of expression. So similar to Lindsay's, how she's finding ways to avoid burnout. This is like the freedom.
It becomes contemplative practice. That's how it does it.
Yeah. So
And
it's
grounds
both,
you.
It's kind of both traditional and free play.
Is there a way for you to quickly link that back to Nachmanovich before we break? Because this is like so fascinating. We're just like, yeah.
I guess it's whether improvisation is actually something that we should consider in community music. Should we put it into practice? Like, what is improvisation in music therapy versus improvisation in community music? Is there a difference? Should we establish something?
I mean, should we start to codify the
Yeah.
practices?
Or should we just let it go and just let it free play and just like base our differences on contextual?
For instance, in music therapy across the pond, so we have the UK, which is largely improvisation based, and then North America, which is largely song based. And the two kind of fight it out still together.
What did you say, sorry, and here is more
Song based. So you play old songs on the guitar. You don't do anything with the song. You play it pretty much the same way every time.
I struggled with that in my internship.
Yeah.
Because here we were taught by Colin.
Which is improvisation based. Yeah.
And my internship supervisor did her training in England, very song based. I went into my internship preparing to do what I know, and she was song based. I'm like, heck is this?
Yep. That's North America.
It was a struggle.
So we are now the community music academic base for North America, the first one. And that's us. And we can decide what's going on. I know personally I have to use a lot of improvisation in community music. Otherwise I can't do it. Well, there's song to improvisation to song. There's improvisation to song and back again to improvisation. We should do some tonight when we come back. Did you have to, in your internship, you had to play guitar and sing? Is that what you did?
Yes.
Can you tell us? Well, I mean, tell us what. I'm just curious about. You played what kind of songs?
Well, I was in long-term care.
Okay.
And I will never listen to You Are My Sunshine and sing it again ever. I don't want to hear that song ever again.
Not my ukulele. No, I'm gonna sing it for you.
Oh. There was a music therapy room at long-term care home where I was, keyboard in it, and I was so excited. And then I ended up being there the same day that the music therapist was there, which is fine. But all my work was done in room, bedside, with a guitar, no piano, no nothing.
Oh.
And like, I'm a pianist, I'm not a guitar person, so I struggled doing the guitar. But then I also had the improvisation background, and so I wanted to improvise, but I cannot improvise well on the guitar, especially when I have the whole song idea in my head and I don't know too many guitar techniques. So, and a lot of my clients would have benefited from being with the piano and benefited with me having a drum for them or like other instruments. Whereas when I was in the room, I had my little shakers and my guitar.
Very quite limited.
Some of the rooms were attached, and a lot of the residents, oh, can't disturb the others around them. It was a struggle. It was a very big struggle on the long term.
So this is the Nachmanovich thing that he's talking about too.
Yeah.
Which of them is more effective in this bonding act or the creative act? Whereas you can sing a song fine the same way every time, but isn't necessarily what is needed.
He calls it power of limits. So whether you have that limitation, those are the moments where your creativity shines.
I was very limited.
Very good.
Yeah, if you're very limited, then you only have these many resources. So like if someone is like, okay, I don't have enough time, I procrastinated at this much amount of time, you have to make use of that time. You have to embrace that. And you have to use that creativity or that second mind of yours to make the most out of it.
And like oftentimes I'd be stuck sitting on the floor.
Yeah.
Better in a wheelchair. There's no chairs like brought me. I could stand, but then I'm over them. I could like squat and get some good quad muscles and like play, but then that's hard. Or I could like, I don't know, crouch, which is what I ended up doing most of the time. And like, I don't know. It was,
It's problematic given your knowledge and professionalism, your expert knowledge in power relationships and therapeutic relationships to do what you're supposed to do. It was impossible.
And it was impossible with like nurses. I had a really struggling time, but a lot of the nurses would come into our sessions and just shove medication in their mouth. And like, for instance, if I had a client who was very anxious, saying, where am I? I'm not safe. I'm scared, which is what I had. And I finally got into that space with the client and kind of brought down her anxieties and said, we're okay, blah, 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 blah. And then a nurse comes in, here you go, take your medication. Right then and there, that changes the whole mood.
Yeah.
And then that defeats the work that I've just done.
But if you had power to improvise through that, then maybe you could bring it back in a way that there's more creative power in your improvisations. But I don't know.
We have a long way to go.
It's a long way to go.
Yeah, in terms of like educating people, like even myself,
It's gotta be going.
Like I'm making work.
Ages,
Do
wow.
it. I think that's we have a long way to go to showing like the value. Some people get it and want to know more, and others don't.
Well, and the
Yeah,
other
take it
thing is
easy.
the girl
They got
that
it.
worked with me and myself, when I first made it, she said she's still working on it. They're asking. So we had 3 services set up, and they specifically timed them. So all the different shifts of nurses and PSWs and whatever could come. We had the administrators of the home. That was it. There were 4 of them. Our second session, we had my supervisor, the music therapist, 2 husbands and both their wives. And their wives both received music therapy. That was it. And then our third session was like 4 rough workers who we were communicating with on a daily basis.
Of course.
None of the nurses, none of the PSWs, none of the.
So you were not able to build your social capital among the hospital network in order to
Because
do
they
what
did
we need
not-
to do.
They didn't open themselves up to that as much as we maybe had tried.
Cool.
Anyways, I'm very
No.
bitter about it. So
But you know what? It's a good example for us right? That and the things that we've been studying. She didn't finish everything. She's going to blog about it, but there was also a cool activity which I'm going to have her save for if we can find it away the other
I
time.
just wanted you to like feel
The rice paper.
the rice paper and like try it yourself kind of thing. But
Which was a wonderful thing which we should have done, but that's okay. So we do need to take a break. Oh no, you have to sell them to, and we have to pay a lot for them.
It took me 5 minutes.
But we need to raise money for our guests. No, they're beautiful. They're beautiful. I would love one if, I think you should make, well, I want the squiggly one. No, you take it because, no, I'm going to have her do another one for me. I'm going to have her do
I'm gonna
another
make
one.
another one. It's gonna be different.
Yeah, I want the different one because this one's kind of ugly. All right, let's get out of here for a few minutes, eh? Have some coffee and whatever else. All right, we're going to take a quick break and then we will be back.